Hey, this is Luke with Salt Strong. We have another line test for you. We're comparing 3 different lines in this case. This is just a continuation of the ultimate line quest, looking for just the best fishing line for inshore fishermen, for inshore anglers. And so in this case, we're doing braid, and we've heard a lot of requests come in for this Beyond Braid line. This is their new one, the 8X. This is the 8 strand. We did a test on their 4 strand. They've been doing a lot of advertisements on it. And the 4 strand really did not do very good on the test. I'll put a link down below. So we're doing this 8 one. This is again their newer one, and we're going to be comparing it most of all to this 8 strand line from Daiwa. This is the Daiwa 8 grand, and then we also have this PowerPro Maxcuatro. This is a 20-pound line that we actually tested before with the Beyond Braid. This is a 4 strand, so I really just brought this on just to see how it does, so we can do a test on all 3 of them. So what we have here is this test assembly. It's motorized, so it is as accurate as possible. We have a high-end scale with the gauge. We actually have been writing down all the results. We have one more to do. Let's go ahead and do it. You can see how it works. So we basically have this motor putting tension on it. We can see the breaking point. So in this case, this is the final test. It was 19 pounds, 19.31 pounds. So that is the final listing here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on the computer and show you what the results are, and it's been pretty interesting that the different lines actually did better and worse with different knots. So pretty cool. So let's go to the computer. I'll see you there. All right, so here are the results. So it turned out to be pretty cool. So I did 9 total breaks, and I broke them out between 3 knots. So I did 3 breaks for each knot just to see if the knots would perform differently, or I guess the lines would perform differently for different knots. Turns out they did. In this case, it was actually a pretty big difference. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. This time they definitely did. So 9 total breaks, 3 knots, and I'll go through the knot breakout later, which is pretty cool. But first, just overall, we'll talk about the overall breaking strength. And then we'll talk about the price of these lines as well, and just how the price versus performance really ratio is. So overall, as you can see here, right, this is the Daiwa 8 grand. It just had consistently higher numbers. The average was 23.18. So that was number 1. That was the top. And then number 2 is Beyond Braid 8X. So it would end up being 21.12 pounds, which is solid. It's a 20-pound line, average breaking point higher than the line's rated strength, which is solid. And this PowerPro Maxcuatro, this is the one that actually beat the Beyond Braid 4X by a considerable margin. It wasn't even close. In this case, the 8 strand Beyond Braid, they definitely made some stronger line in this newer braid compared to the 4X. Right, the 4X wasn't even close to the Maxcuatro. In this case, it actually beat it. So what this negative 5% means that it was 5% weaker than Beyond Braid, and what this 10% represents is this Daiwa 8 grain is 10% stronger than Beyond Braid. These numbers, of course, aren't rock solid, right? It's a sample size of 9, so if it was a larger sample size, it would be a much higher confidence level, but I'm at least confident that I did every knot as consistently as I could, and this is the results that came out. So I'm at least using it for my own, and I thought I'd at least share it with you in case you're interested. So now on price. So here is where there's a very big disparity, right? 10% difference is actually decently big, but it's still not a ton. But then on the price difference, and especially what's most interesting is that the line that performed the best is by far the least expensive. So as far as price, they're all the price of 300-yard spools that I could find online, and it was looking at like the normal. It wasn't going to pick some crazy sale price. So the normal sale price of this Daiwa 8 grand, we actually sell it on Fish Strong, is $29.99. Beyond Braid, the normal MSRP per their website is $49.95. It's a huge difference in price, and whereas the lower price one, which is much lower price, did better. So to me, that's pretty eye-opening. And then another one, this PowerPro Maxcuatro, is the most expensive line, and that actually proved to do the worst. So just another example that price doesn't always equate to the performance of the lines. Now we'll go down to the different knots, and this is where it gets interesting. So what this color scheme means: green is number 1. Green is the best for each knot. Yellow is number 2, and then this orangish color is last. And so this Beyond Braid was last for 2 of the knots, right? The first 2, and then it did best on the trilene knot, which is a big surprise, right? Who would have guessed that it would be that much of a difference? And what the uni knot was, just to explain what they are. So the uni knot is going through the eye of the swivel. I was using swivels just for my protection. The eye of the swivel once, and then doing 10 coils through the circle of the uni. And then the uni 2X is going through the swivel twice, and then doing the 10 wraps. And the trilene knot is going through the swivel twice, and then doing a fisherman's knot with, again, the 10 twist as well, to keep the same twist consistent to see how these different knots perform. And so there's a couple interesting things here. So number one is that obviously the Beyond Braid, and you went from worst in 2 knots to best for 1. But again, that was a barely best. But also the trilene knot has once again proven to outshine the uni knot, which for many years I've been using the uni knot thinking that it was the best knot possible. Turns out this trilene is better even for braid, right? We did the mono and fluoro test. It proved to be best. And now for braid, it turned out great as well. And so overall at the macro level, just looking at the numbers, it just makes the most sense to go with this 8 grand, right? The 8 grand performed the best, most consistently, a solid knot test, while also being the most affordable line. So it's very rare that it's this clear on performance and price, both being to the advantage of one line. So numbers wise, this Daiwa 8 grand is the way to go. Well, thanks so much for going through this analysis with us. If you've used these lines, please let us know, right? Particularly this Beyond Braid. This is the new one on the market. They're marketing it very hard, very heavily online. And so not much is known about it. So make sure to check out reviews. But so far, again, this actually did much better than the original Beyond Braid. So the 8 strand seemed to at least be, as far as knot strength, much better than their 4 strand. However, it did get beat by this less expensive line from Daiwa. And so far, this has actually been one of my favorites that I've started using more and more. It's been great. And just from feeling the lines, and you're looking at the specs, the diameter of this was actually listed a little bit higher than Beyond Braid. But just from feeling it, right, from feeling it during all of these knot tines, it just really felt like this 8 grand was thinner. And it's definitely, it definitely has a smoother exterior, and it maneuvers a lot easier. So I believe, at least I'll be shocked if this 8 grand doesn't cast a good amount better than the Beyond Braid. But we'll do that experiment next. Just wanted to share that was just a total speculation. And to see more line tests, we've done a ton of line tests. We're really just looking for the best line out there for us as inshore saltwater anglers, best line for the money. We don't make any fishing lines, and we sell a variety of them, so we really don't have a skin in the game. This is really just our personal quest, and we're just going to share the steps like this along the journey with you. And if you're new to SaltStrong, just know that's the best online fishing club for saltwater anglers, especially if you like going after redfish, sea trout, snook, and flounder. We actually guarantee you'll be catching more fish than you ever have before while saving money on all the tackle you need. To learn more, go to saltstrong.com. Otherwise, hope to see you again soon.